All right, guys, welcome back. And in this part of the video, we are going to look at something more. Now, see, here is the thing. Let me just close this out. So, what we are going to learn is that this is what we have seen it, correct? Postman, not Postman. We have consumed the WSDL in Anypoint Studio, and we also consumed the WSDL in the Postman, and then we made a call to Anypoint Studio. Then we made a call via Postman with Anypoint Studio. Now, in fact, the way how we consumed was through importing. Now there is another way as well. Now we have seen calendar WSDL. Now let us actually find out the internet which have actually implemented the any programming. Okay, let us see if there is any examples working over here. Working with WSDL coverage. Let me see if there is anything that anyone would have implemented directly with the URL itself. This time I want to take the URL directly and test it. And let us say examples. Say examples WSDL implementation online, something like this. Let me see. Let me get even one of them. That would be awesome, actually. Anywhere is fine. I don't have any issues with any one implementation. Okay. Let me see this. Do you have anything else? Yeah, see, there is something that they talk about: add, subtract, multiply, divide. How cool is this? This is exactly what I was looking for. Okay, cool. Now, if you can see this, they have given this part of the implementation. Now, this is a URL that is implemented by this guys, and it's in SoapUI. If anyone has done any other tutorial and talks about this, you know where they're copying from. Guys, as I said before, I don't have a habit of creating a PPT or showing case of a documentation. I generally refer the way I've shown to you, and even everyone would have done that. Just because you're a trainer doesn't mean that you have to be so much prepared that you don't even tell from where you're copying from. I don't follow that principle. Okay, now see here, since they've been testing in Soap UI and we've been testing in Postman. Soap UI is another project, so another tool, I'm sorry, where you can import that. Now you can see this. The first step is that select new file in the Soap project and then import this WSDL. Now if I take this WSDL, copy it and paste it over here, can you see this? It will automatically download it. Now guys, do you remember types and messages which we've been speaking so far? Let me minimize these things. Now can you see this? Types, the data type, the messages which will host it, which will have that information, and then the port type which will combine the messages, binding the operations. And can you see this? In services, in service, there are two informations, two address location. One is at this, other one is at that. Okay, service, and the service name is a calculator. Now this is something that we've been seeing from past two videos. I'm not going to repeat that again. Okay, now see this URL is consumed via browser. This URL is consumed via browser. This URL can also be consumed in Postman. This URL can also be consumed in Anypoint Studio. This URL can be consumed in Eclipse. This URL can be consumed any other goddamn tool which is able to consume. Okay, now let's take this URL and consume in Postman. So let me delete all these book services, which is not relevant. I'll never use it as well. Okay, just let me delete it, guys. You have to give me some time, and that's it. That's done. Now click on new import, and here link. Paste this, continue, and as you can see, it's a test suite. We are going to import it. Import, click on the import. As usual, there's nothing so new about it. Okay, and this time we've imported it under collections. If you can see, external API test, not this one, calculator, soap, calculator soap. We'll click on that. And what do we understand? First point, everything is a post operation. Do you agree? Everything is a post operation. And obviously I need to pass the URL. Let me check what's the URL I need to pass. We'll come to that later. And here under body, they're expecting to send the in the XML format, in this format. Okay. And then if you can see int A, int B, two types. Do you guys remember that from where you get it, right? So if I go back to this guy, so this under types, can you see this? Int A, int B, and type is integer, and see here int A, int B, and this type is integer. Yeah. Now then the same applies. And what's the response? Response also they're expecting in XML. That's okay. Response is up to us this time. I'll tell you the reason behind it. Now this is the XML input and this is the response. Okay. Now what is the URL that they're expecting it to send? I'll check that in the documentation. Somewhere while making a call, they should hit to a URL. Let me check that. Let us check that anyways. There should be some URL where they would have tested it. Okay, it's not available over here. Okay, maybe this itself is the URL. Let's check it. Okay, that's the beauty of SOAP UI, where you get that option to test it. Okay, see, this is the URL. Let me see it. If I get 30 as a response, I'm not sure. I'm just checking. 30, not 30, 300 or 200, 100 plus 100, 200. See this, 200. I'm going to change this value to 500 and 100. Let me check that. You got 600. Now did you understand that? Remember that Microsoft and Wipro concept? In the similar way, this guy DNE online, which is nothing but SOAP UI, guys. This DNE online, I'll take the DNE online. They have implemented the add, subtract, multiply, divide operations, and they have exposed that over the internet server. Okay, and once they have exposed it over the internet, they have given this URL, and with the URL they're asking us to first download the WSDL. The WSDL has been downloaded in the Postman. The WSDL can be downloaded in Anypoint Studio or anywhere. Okay, and then with this help of the URL, they're asking in any of these operations, please make a call. Please make a call. That's all it's going to happen. Now in the Anypoint Studio, let's go back to our guy and we'll delete this book service, not relevant anymore. Okay, continue. And learn mule. This is what is relevant for us at this stage. Now it's not data weave. We will create one small project called as new package. That would be SOAP web service. Okay, here invoke what is that? Invoke SOAP UI, invoke DNE online. We'll give the same name. Okay, invoke DNE online. Finish. Okay, let's get this guy over here, and obviously the concept would be here. It's kind of simple. Okay, with the help of Postman, we are going to call this Anypoint Studio, and Anypoint Studio will internally call this URL, which is nothing but that DNE online, which means that Anypoint Studio should have this DNE online available over here. And how do I do that? First, let's go to first step. First step is always this one, listener. Okay, which means Postman will make a call to our Anypoint Studio. Let me see the configuration. It's 7071. That's fine. Let me test that whether do we have it or not. Okay, cool. And 7071, that's good. Okay, 7071, and the path is invoke DNE online. Now with that, Postman can make a call to this URL. Okay, then you have one module which I wanted to show you, which is consume. Let me see that web service consume. See, web service consumer. The name itself says that, hey, please consume the web service. Get this. Okay, get this guy. That's it. Now here consume DNE online. Just like how we consumed in the postman, in a similar way Anypoint Studio is going to consume. So we'll click on this connector configuration, and we'll keep the SOAP version 1.1 as the latest one. And WSDL, it's asking where is the WSDL location. This is the WSDL location. We give the same thing in the postman, remember, same things here. What we did, there's no difference. Import, and here we gave this link, remember, see, I gave a link in the postman and you gave a link in the Anypoint Studio. What difference does it make? Both of them are the same tool. You're getting it? How to think. Okay, so then obviously with service, this is the service name. And what is the port? Obviously you saw two port, right? Here, if you guys remember, there are two ports here, see? And the same it's asking over here. Again, what is the difference? What is the difference between postman and Anypoint Studio? You're getting it, right? So we tested from calculator SOAP, and hence we are going to give the same one. And what is the address? It should auto populate. This is the address. This address is nothing but this guy. See how cool is that? That's it. Your configuration is done. Now operation. Here what all the operations you have? Add, subtract, multiply, divide, correct? Here also you need to select which operation you want to work with, and this time I'm going to give it as add. Okay, add. And I'm going to skip the body, headers, attachments and everything. Okay, not going to talk about it. DNE, consume DNE, and operation. Okay, add operation. That's cool. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to keep a transfer message after that, and just want to no, we'll keep a logger and see how the output is available. Okay, before and after payload, and here payload. Okay, payload and payload. Cool. Now I'm going to add a break. Oh, come on, add a breakpoint. Debug. While that, do you want to run? You want to stop the existing? Yeah, please stop it and run the new one. Okay, now what we did, we passed this data, not this one, we passed this data to this URL. Now it's a simple. Now we pass the same data to Anypoint Studio, which has a HTTP listener, and that in turn will make a call to this guy, to this URL. That is nothing but this guy. So we have to change the address. What is the address? HTTP localhost 7071, correct? 7071. That's the thing. That's all we have to do. And then obviously we need to pass this guy, invoked URL. Okay, now let's send it 506 and say now you got the data. This is a payload, which is awesome. 500 and 600. Then it will send the data, and then in turn it should send a response back as this guy as 0. Somehow it has given as 0, result as 0. That's very odd actually. Let us see what we got here. It says add result is 0. Okay, and not sure exactly why it has become 0. Okay, let's make another call again and check it whether the payload was something wrong. I think the payload was correct. Okay, payload was correct. Payload was perfectly correct. And then here in the advanced, do we need to give something else? No, it's perfectly fine. And this is a payload, and then we'll click on the next button, and in the payload is still there, and as soon as you click on the next, the payload has been sent to wrong. Okay, that we need to check it. We need to check what's the reason behind it. But anyways, you guys understood how this works. Now it's time that you rectify it. How about if I pass the payload directly over here? Let me see this. Okay, I'll just pass the payload in this way. No, this is never going to work. I'm sorry, this is never going to work. My bad. My bad. Please excuse me. I was in a wrong mindset. Okay, now we have to figure out a way how to do that. Let's see it. Okay, and see here. Let's do one thing. Now here we need to send the XML. Agreed. We need to send the XML, and which means that obviously I thought that the XML would be traversed over here, and it will be just copy paste. It will be just kind of sending the XML to this whole request itself. But I don't think that's the truth. We have to convert into an XML. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's keep a transform message here. So we'll say that request before sending. Before sending. Okay. Now here, see, what I'm thinking is that we are sending this data, correct? We are sending this data 300, 400, 500. Okay. Now if you can see here, it's asking that, can you send this value? Okay. So if I just double click on this here, double click on this, can you see this? It's automatically populating XML, which means that this is what we should have done. Add a transform message and convert it into an XML and then send it to this request. And that's what we kind of missed it. Okay, so now I added a transform message, and if I clicked on, as soon as I added a transform message, it populated what kind of request it is required. And that's the metadata which you guys are aware of it. It has automatically populated what it is needed. Now int a and int b. Now if I just double click on that, it's giving us null. The reason it's giving us null is because we have not mapped anything. Now let's go back to this guy and make a call. See here. Okay, I think I should have given a breakpoint here. My bad. Let's make a call again. And if you see here, this is the XML. Now in here, I need to pass this two values over here. Correct? There should be a way of how to write a data view expression. Let's first try doing that. Let's give us payload. Evaluate. Then what I'm going to do is that payload dot. I'll use a descendant operator and I'll get this int a. Okay, I'll get this int a. Evaluate. Okay, cannot coerce array as string. I'll say as string. Let us see this. Cannot coerce array as string. Okay, I'll say array of 0 as string. No, if I just say evaluate, no, that's also not going to work. What I'm going to do is that let me convert it into JSON. Let's see this. DW 2.0 output application / JSON evaluate. Now you got 50. Okay. Now you got 50. And then since it's an array, I'm going to say of 0. You'll get as string. And then I'm going to give it as number. Evaluate. Now that has become an integer. Now let me see if this actually works. I've just pasted over here and I'm just going to paste it over here as well. And instead of int a, and I'm going to give it as int b. Okay, let me see if this actually works. Even I want to kind of make sure that this works actually. Okay, and then I'm going to save it. Okay, so that's done. Okay, now we have converted to XML and let's debug this. Okay, and see if this works. Fingers crossed. Okay. Okay, it has been deployed. Now let's clear it off and let's make a call now. 500 and 600. So just we're sending 500 and 600. Let us see this now. And then, okay. Now next step. Oh wow, it did take it. Okay, that's awesome. And what is the logger? Just let me clear it off. And what's the logger? And if you can see here, you have 600, and that's one other crap way of representing it. So this is a crap way of representing it, because you remember this is a response that we want like this. Since we want the response like this, you know what? Let's create a metadata for this. Go copy this copy this. Okay, go back here and paste it, and then save it, saying that what is that name? The name is calculator. Calculator add metadata dot xml. Okay, save it. Now we are going to add the metadata. How do we do that? Add a transform message after this. Now here we are going to say format to XML properly. Okay, and click on define metadata. Okay, this is an old one actually. I need to delete this. Okay, so add, and we are going to say calculator add XML. Okay, and then obviously type is XML. Example, we are not giving a schema, we are giving an example. Select that. Okay, and then it should automatically populate. Obviously you need to select whether which part you want to give it as. So either it's envelope body, add response, add result. It's not add result. Let us see this actually. It's envelope body, add response, add result. Yeah, this is the one. So which means this is the schema we need to select. Okay, now see this, it's loading. Now this is cool. Now where do you get this output from? As soon as you transform the message, you make a call, and then the output is generated over here. See this? Now this you need to map it over here. Okay, so the result, map it. See, everything got automatically populated for you guys. See this? How cool is that? See, even it has taken the namespaces, see, which we had seen in data weave, correct? Default, it has automatically set default as 0, and you can still make as number if you want. Okay, it's up to you. Anyways, it's up to you. Now I'm going to remove this because no need to breakpoint, because I think we have done this time very clearly. Let us make a call. Now instead of getting this result, where it is, instead of getting this kind of crap result, now you'll get a very beautiful result. Okay, 500 plus 100, you should get 600. See how cool is that? I'll change this 700 to 100 and you should get 800. Okay, now that's how you consume the SOAP in the Anypoint Studio. Okay, finally we'll get into it and understand what is WSDL in a short. Where are you? We had seen somewhere the meaning of WSDL. Explore WSDL. Let's click on this and see what is WSDL as a whole. Okay, that's it. We'll revisit this definition and we'll end this video. WSDL or Web Service Description Language, an XML based definition language. It is used for describing the functionality of a SOAP based web service. So WSDL language is an XML based definition language. We understood that, and it used for describing functionality of a SOAP. Okay, WSDL files are central to testing SOAP based services. WSDL defines various aspects of SOAP messages, whether any element or attribute is allowed to appear multiple times, required or optional attributes are true, specify the order of elements. Okay, we need to understand how to create a WSDL. That's another challenge. And SOAP UI supports 1.1 and 1.2 versions, and which we had seen 1.1 and 1.2 in the drop down menu, right? In the drop down menu we had seen that. Okay, with that being said, guys, let's wrap it up, the concept of SOAP and these web services. Now let's go ahead to the new section, and in the next section I'm going to talk about few programming languages getting implemented in Mulesoft. What's that? Just click on the next section. Okay guys, see you guys, take care.